Hello, everyone! Blue Star Saber here once again to discuss another My Hero Academia chapter review. But I'm not just joined by one guest, I am joined by two. Say hello to Luckychi7 and Mangareader.
Oh. Hi.
All I'm gonna say is I am here, but I am also not here at the same time. So take that for what you will.
Wow. Lack of enthusiasm. I tried to get
It was supposed to be a metaphor to the chapter, but
Fair enough.
There's no metaphors.
My mistake there, Lucky G. Apologize. Let's see, but it's mostly referring to manga reader, but yeah. I can get what you mean, but yeah. Anyway, it's been a while since Mangareader has joined us with My Hero Academia, but he's been quite busy with some of the old podcasts as well with My Hero Academia. But
has it been that long though? I'm trying to think because you were there. Okay, I'm trying to think because you were there. I think for 326, right? I think 326.
Okay, so it's been about 4 chapters since you last joined us here.
Because I remember he was there when we did the chapter when Stain and
okay.
So yeah, it hasn't been that long.
Okay, clearly I need to relook at my own My Hero Academia reviews, but anyway. So anyway, let's see. As we all remember from if we've all read the last chapter, which I'm sure we have, Tomura Shigaraki has just encountered Stars and Stripes. Let's see, as she's about to arrive in Japan and all that stuff, while All For One has been using Spinner as the poster boy for his next evil plans and all that stuff. But yeah, but what we promised is a fight between Stars and Stripes and Tomura Shigaraki, which is this chapter is all about, even though it's labeled Me and Myself, though I've just put the subheading as Stars and Stripes versus Tomura Shigaraki. But yeah. So anyway, now that's all. We're on to begin with a chapter. From what we can tell, one of the pilots is informing her, Stars and Stripes, that it's Tomura Shigaraki, not All For One. Since she was asking if that was if Tomura was him, that was the case and all that stuff. With the planes all switching to shields and all that stuff. With one of the pilots now asking Stars and Stripes what's their play, offense or evasion? Which she says, do you need to ask? We smash and all that stuff. So
I'll say this right off the gate. I could see that panel being a meme in and of itself. Who knows? It might already be a meme.
Especially with the way the face is drawn, if you ask me.
What?
Right. I'm pretty sure the folks on Twitter have already taken that meme and made it a reality. I don't know.
Possibly. I mean, I haven't really been looking at chapter. I haven't really looking at the trends of My Hero, to be honest. But heck,
I haven't either.
But anyway, with one of the pilots saying loud and clear, "Sir, hopefully one of us will make a safe landing," implying that whatever they're about to do might end up with someone dying. But heck.
Anyway. I mean, they are technically fodder, so who's gonna really miss them?
True, fair enough, but yeah. As they get into battle for formation to take down, Tomura Shigaraki, Stars and Stripes says, make sure one of you stays alive to come back to your loved ones and all that stuff.
Oh, so she don't care now.
Well, no, actually, I think I'll make sure you make it back to your loved ones. But
I know.
But either way, still, that's pretty dark. But heck.
Yeah.
Let's see. But anyway, Tomura Shigaraki finds himself in a strange state of mind, as he cannot seem to, as he feels like he cannot really call himself Tomura Shigaraki. But at the same time, that is also him and all that stuff, which I'm now getting the reference you'll be saying at the beginning of the chapter, at the beginning of this stream, Luckychi. Anyway, Tomura Shigaraki uses a combination of radio waves plus air cannons and plus heavy, over and heavy payload, apparently using a combination of 3 quirks. since apparently as he comments about, let's see, ever since he's reawakened and all that stuff. Anyway, Tomura Shigaraki causes a massive air blast, although it seems like all the planes have managed to dodge it, including Stars and Stripes. Let's see. As Tomura Shigaraki makes a sort of like comment about, well, USA, who will be the first to tag the other?
That's a good question. Do they freeze when you get tagged, or the other person?
And anyway, it's Tomura Shigaraki saying, "Come on, USA, give me what you got."
Basically.
But anyway, let's see. Anyway, Stars and Stripes relands on the plane and goes like, "Do you already know what my deal is? It won't help you fight back because I reign supreme, boy." Let's see. As she's now going.
Whoa! I'm pretty certain Shigaraki is not a boy, especially not after Meta Liberation. But
well,
that's the point.
Boy.
He's a young adult, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I know. I'm just.
But yeah, to be honest, I'm seeing this as a way of how All Might what Whitebeard used to call all Marines from the past his generation as brats and all that stuff. Let's see, but yeah. Anyway, she ends up saying the words "air." As of now, air does not exist 100 meters ahead of me. As it's revealed that as we get an explanation of Stars and Stripes quirk, New Order. I do like how the speech bubbles, it's the speech bubbles in which she's saying this command and the Stars and Stripes of the US flag. And
a totally accurate US flag, because we're still missing some stars on there, but accurate to a degree.
But yeah. As we reveal, as if what she revealed for her command, we get this star shape. Shaper in the air, seemingly pushing the air out of it. As the explanation goes, saying after touching a target, she can call out the target's name and assign a new rule to it. With her saying, "How about Shigaraki dies from this attack?" As Shigaraki comments about how brutal this quirk is and how he wants it.
Shocking.
Though he manages to survive, with Stars and Stripes probably commenting, well, a guy that come all this way to come after her probably wouldn't die so easily and all that stuff.
Can we also just say Shigaraki took at least 5 hits from these guys?
Well, from what I can, as she's ordered laser cannons, I can see at least.
It's about 5, yeah, because it comes from five of the chats.
I think I see 6 laser shots, to be honest.
Let me see one.
I think there's one from a plane that's not shown in the stream, but it's one that comes crashing down on Shigaraki.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's 6, but
yeah. With the pilots commenting about how they got him good and all that stuff. And apparently one of them is named Wedge.
Yep. So, I mean, Mangareader and I were talking about this earlier, but yeah, we know Koei is a Star Wars fan, so
he's just pretty much referenced Reg Antilles.
Yep, so he basically took Wedge and said, okay, we know you had a shitty scenario with the sequels. Let me pull you out and pull you into My Hero Academia. Some people are going to be to say this, but you know.
Well, I'm pretty certain for those who do not know who Reg Antilles is, it's the most recurring Rebel starfighter pilot you find in the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the only other one besides Luke Skywalker to survive the Death Star and as a part of the Death Star strike attack for the Return of the Jedi. But yeah,
I mean, he does show up in Episode 9.
And he's also had a cameo in Episode 9, and he was also there in the Battle of Hoth for Empire Strikes Back. And for some other trivia, he's also the uncle of Ian McGregor, the man who would play Obi-Wan in the prequel trilogy.
Whoosh.
But yeah, anyway, Star Wars trivia over.
Keep going.
Stars and Stripes tells them not to get cocky just yet, as it revealed that, let's see, Shigaraki has used a quirk called Reflect plus Scatter. A combination of some sort of like two quirks that can block laser attacks and reverse them into their opponents. Anyway, Stars and Stripes ends up grabbing one of the lasers, saying the laser is holdable, as she uses her quirk to hold on to the laser. As one of the pilots comments that Shigaraki's body is healing, commenting like, no wonder Japan lost to this guy. Technically, I'd say it was more of a stalemate, but heck.
I mean, considering the damage that was done during the Paranormal War, I don't blame them for thinking that way.
Fair point. Let's see. Yeah, well, let's see. In many ways, the villains did seem to gain much than lost, but anyway. Let's see. Apparently, the vacuum let's see. Anyway, as she's held on to the laser, apparently the vacuum she created is gone, which makes Shigaraki meant to think that does that mean New Order has some limitations of some sort, which allows him to take his chance, and he jumps off his Nomu, heading straight towards her. Let's see. Anyway. However, let's see, this plays right into Stars and Stripes' hands with the way Shigaraki's jumped into her, as she jumps herself and ends up whacking Tomura Shigaraki, flying him into the air. Let's see. As she reveals that she can only set up for up to two different. As she can only set new rules for up to two different targets at once. One of the two is always on herself, as she can't quite conjure. So due to the fact that she has not got natural super strength, using her quirk, she can conjure up super strength. But on the one hand, it's not as strong as All Might, but it's pretty strong, as it's allowed her to, of course, be the strongest woman, and all that stuff. But anyway, as she sent Tomura Shigaraki flying, she reveals that years ago about how a Japanese student came to study abroad that saved her. And her family were on their way to a Santana Montepia when it happened.
Santa Monica, I think is what it's called.
Santa Monica. Well, it's your country. You'll probably be able to tell me more about your geography than I can. But yeah, a burglar that was on the run attacked their car and all that stuff. Let's see. And she said, "At least let my little civil sister live," I cried, as she was ready to face death, but he was there. And for those who have seen the movie might know, this is the girl with glasses that All Might saved at the beginning of the movie. As we see that smiling. Two heroes, I believe, right?
Yeah, the first one. That's from the first movie.
So let's see. So yeah.
Wow.
And she comments about. Sorry, what was that, Mangareader?
I said, there we go again. My conversation about there always being these canon-esque movies.
Yeah, right.
But yeah.
And anyway, for anyone wondering, this isn't technically the first time Koei's linked the movies.
His own movies.
Yeah, because I know, again, Meta Liberation Army arc, when he had Shigaraki just thinking about everything, there was that one panel with like all the daisies and everything on a hill, which does tie back to Heroes Rising. So it's another nod.
No, granted, I think this is the first direct reference from the first movie in the main timeline and not in the spin-off work.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, as she goes on how she'll never forget the sight of those two hair turfs, and that he was her role model from that day forward. And as a show of her own even greater dedication to peace, she went for 8 turfs. So let's see. So she pretty much times All Might's hairstyle by 4. To show her dedication and how she was inspired by All Might. all that stuff. With Tomura Shigaraki commenting about there's no escaping that. Oh my! No matter where you go in the world. As Stars and Stripes smiles about how he's called the symbol of peace after all. Anyway, she's now touched Tomura Shigaraki as he's landed on one of her planes and said her name, and she says, as she now gives the command, if Tomura Shigaraki moves at all, his heart will stop. She ain't playing around, is she?
Not a chance.
I wonder.
But anyway. Okay, Tomura Shigaraki's eyes wide open, and she hears the thinking about how she fell for it. As we seem to be going inside Tomura Shigaraki's inner mind about how and we hear the words, there were signs from the moment I awakened.
Yeah, calling back to the the warg itself.
As we end up seeing a little panel about how you will be mine, little brother, as when Shigaraki was going straight after Midoriya.
Mm-hmm.
As we hear the words of someone commenting about how the boundary was always hazy. Let's see. With All For One talking about how, as originally planned, you were meant to become me after 2 months of repercussion and all that stuff. Recuperation. Sorry, I said the words wrongly there. But let's see. All For One, as we see this panel of Tomura Shigaraki seemingly trying to be possessed by, All For One. But with All For One comments about how much of a firecracker Shigaraki is turning out to be. Due to his sheer hatred and his drive for destruction, the Doctor and him had expectations for him to roast, and apparently, and he's managed to blow them away. And apparently that percentage-wise, they're about, say, 97 to 98%. And apparently that's when they'll become one soon. So apparently no longer one All For One, nor Tomura Shigaraki. And apparently we'll meld into a new person altogether. And we hear Shigaraki scream, no! With Stars and Stripes wondering if it didn't work and wondering, is this really Tomura Shigaraki or not?
Technically speaking, that's not his actual name, but and this is because I remember you and I were talking about this yesterday, and I was thinking, yeah, it could be something as simple as, okay, we know Tomura Shigaraki isn't his actual name, so it could be that loophole too.
True. Good old loophole.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably what we think it is. It's just because they're two bodies merged that.
Let's see. But yeah, this is perhaps more for discussion after I finish the summary. With let's see. All For One comments about how Shigaraki doesn't seem to be in favor of it. Asking if Shigaraki hates him, but says good, let the hate flow through you. As apparently this hatred of his delivers them to glorious future.
Very Sith-like, if you will.
With Shigaraki, I think, still screaming as his hair is growing longer. I think.
Yeah, I remember. I saw a lot of people pointing that out. I was like, is it getting longer? Then I actually have to look back at the chapter. I was like, actually, okay, it is getting kind of longer. So it's very Tarzan-esque, I'll say.
Yeah. But anyway, as Shigaraki's thinking back how it began in that house with a grain of hate that grew and built upon itself, his childhood house, as you will. And the chapter ends with some sort of light in the sky with these electrical things, or maybe it's like of an explosion of some sort. But either way, the chapter's ended and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, on to our thoughts and all that stuff. So, what do you make of Stars and Stripes? So far in this chapter.
Well, I'm going to mention what I said during my analysis video yesterday. Because I remember when the fan translations came out, I was super confused. I was like, hold it. Because the way they worded it there made it super incredibly overpowered. And it's not to say it's not overpowered here, but they actually, the way the official translations described it actually made a lot more sense than what happened on Friday. But
Okay.
What?
Well, at the very least, we know the translators are doing their jobs.
yeah, right.
Right. What are we talking? Her quirk? I mean, I don't think it matters what the official translation is. It's basically freaking magic.
Essentially, yeah.
So yeah, from what we can tell, New Order, which I do like how the speech bubbles with it is the stars and stripes, but heck, to symbolize her being an American superhero.
Yeah.
But yeah, New Order, the whole whatever she touches, she can give a command to for what that rule is and all that stuff. For example, she can tell someone to drop dead or increase their strength or increase her own strength as she does with herself. Granted, this ability is limited to 2 things, so she always gives herself super strength, while the other one is a command to whatever she touches, such as blowing away air, holding lasers, or commanding someone to die if they move or something. So yeah,
that's the thing is okay, so the big drawback is they gotta touch you first in order for the quirk to actually activate, because if that doesn't happen, then
yeah. So for herself, she's always saved 1 for super strength, so she can always be ready for battle, though she comments it's not as strong as All Might, but we can see why she's with this quirk of hers. We can see why she ended up regarding as the strongest woman of the female hero in America, and maybe in the world and all that stuff. So we can see where that.
See, this is where writing is stupid, because why would you pick super strength over invulnerability?
You would think, right?
I don't know. I guess only Superman can have invulnerability.
Hey, now that's not entirely true.
Okay, Wonder Woman as well, I guess.
I mean,
there's a lot of heroes that have a form of invulnerability.
I was gonna say, how many times has Batman died in the comics, and how many times has he come back? I think that's more than
that's immortality, almost.
Yeah, right?
No, it's because he's Batman.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah, fair enough. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe she didn't think about it. Maybe Kai didn't think about it. Maybe it's just super strength. That's much more simpler to explain. But yeah. But
they did it just because if she's gonna lose, then that's why he did it. He can't make her lose if she's invincible or crap like that. But can make her lose if she doesn't think of using it.
Granted, if that's the case, then if Tomura Shigraki steals it and says, give me infinite vulnerability, you can make those comments later, manga reader.
Well, then somehow Deku's going to have some random power that overrides
invulnerability.
Yeah.
But that's probably why they didn't do it. But yeah. So, yeah. So I do like how pretty much her quirk allows her to bend, to make some new rules for whatever she touches and all that stuff.
Bend reality.
Basically.
Anyway, I'm glad that we also this chapter we finally got some confirmation about what her connection is to All Might, and it turns out she was one of the American citizens from the movie, the girl and the glasses from the car that he saved from 2 heroes during that flashback.
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily that they met. It was more like a spiritual mentor type of thing, which okay.
So that probably explains why All Might has never brought her up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait a freaking minute.
What up?
How old was that movie? How old was All Might in that movie?
Let's see here. He was, I think it's he was a foreign exchange student, right? So
right.
18 years old.
At the very least in college is what I would say.
Apparently,
there's no way the timeline works here.
I think he was 18 years old.
Yeah.
Let me double check. Hold on.
Because that picture looks like there's no way she turned into this in that time span.
Well, how old is All Might again?
All Might is 49, so well, as of right now, he's 49. So if we're to take this back 20 years, okay, let's estimate here. Let's shave off 25, maybe 26 years from All Might. He'd be around 23. Oh, that's kind of viable for college age, kind of.
Possibly. Well, she looks like she's no more than 8, maybe 10 max in that picture.
Yeah, so I'd say based on her appearance, I'd say maybe early 30s, maybe.
Somewhere in her 30s. Well, I guess we could always check the...
I guess it could work then for images, but it's just like, holy crap, what the hell?
Yeah, just for that one, it's like, wait, where's the timeline for Two Heroes again in that one scene? I'm like, huh.
Because, I mean, what, Dave didn't really age too much?
Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna see real quick. My Hero Academia is here because that's funny. Because it's weird because I was rewatching the movie the other day, so I should know this on my head. But let me see. It just says a flashback is shown. It's not necessarily talking about
Stars and Stripes. My Hero.
Wiki.
Let's see. Well, it doesn't really give, let's see, her age, but I think
this is several years ago. That's as much of a.
I think All Might at the very least was 18. So at the very least, let's see. So it's either been 31 years ago, so she's either in her 30s or her 40s. So take that as you will.
Huh.
But anyway, she doesn't kid her. She doesn't, let's see, mess around. Let's see, Stars and Stripes. Let's see, because like with the command of like saying if Tomura Shigaraki moves, he dies and all that stuff. His heart stops. It's like she's ruthless.
Okay, so All Might, I'll say this because I'm looking at the scene right now. All Might definitely looks like he's in his at least early 20s. So
let's see.
Okay, that could
You guys just really have to make the timeline confusing for me, don't you?
Well, I mean, Mangareader brought up a good point. I was like, let me double check, actually.
Someone was going to eventually think that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
To think, but yeah.
Anyway, let's see, back to the point at hand. But so yeah, she's quite ruthless and trying to eliminate Tomura Shigaraki by giving a command that if he moves, he dies and all that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. But I do like how, but yeah, let's see, and she goes about how, let's see, her hairstyle is just like, let's see, just based on All Might's, but decide to multiply it, which is sort of different to how Midoriya ended up just trying to make his hero's costume with those bunny ears, just to be based on All Might.
Yeah.
Here she decides, you know what? I'm gonna Dritzy times it by 4 to make mine to show how much I've dedicated it and all that stuff. But anyway, I do like how she works with, like, you know, the pilots with like how they fire, let's see, lasers and all that stuff, and how they catch her when she's landing on one of them and all that stuff and jumping in midair. So I do like
it's like a game of lily pad. Just jump on each lily pad that you can find.
I do kind of like the teamwork we kind of got with that, and I do kind of like how one of them is apparently named Reg Antilles, or at least Wedge. Sorry.
Watch him die. Come on.
Let's see, Wedge. No.
I'm like, what do we know about this Wedge, Blue? He's just a fighter. We don't know his family. We don't know his character background. He's just Wedge.
Yeah. But yeah, let's see. I do find it funny how I do find it like dark how they go like, ooh, let's see, we gotta make sure at least one of us makes it out of this alive and all that stuff. So
I'm calling it here. Wedge is gonna die.
Wedge is gonna die.
Yeah. But
why?
Anyway,
because I want to see Blue Star wallow in misery.
Don't make me start reading Dr. Stone, Luckychi.
No.
Wallow in misery.
I'm pretty sure Mangareader doesn't want you to read it either.
Yeah, I still have to catch up, so yeah.
But anyway. Well, I've only watched YouTube clips on it at one point, but heck. Anyway, I do like how Tomura Shigaraki is using like the combo of moves he has to counter and attack them, such as like using air cannons and what to increase them with, and how to combat their lasers and all that stuff. I do like that, but anyway. So, how do you feel about the stuff with Tomura Shigaraki, guys?
Well, I did kind of make a prediction that I think one of the reasons why you have this fight is essentially for Shigaraki to kind of like break off essentially kind of like regain control of his will from All for One. And from what we've seen in this chapter, it definitely feels like we're seeing it.
Well, at the very least, you can still see them struggling. At the very least, I'm not sure if he's taking over, if he's regaining control or not. But from what I can tell, it seems like they're All for One and him are merging into this new entity or something.
Great.
So it's not so we end up getting in like an entirely new being. So it's like they're fusing.
All we need is just polymerization. Just done.
Break out the fusion dance.
So yeah. So it seems like All for One is commenting about how they're fusing into new being, and he seems to. And I do like how he's got like, yes, let your hate flow in me and all that stuff, Strike me down, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete. I don't know. Quite a few Star Wars reference in this chapter.
For having a good one and having a shitty death.
But yeah, it does seem like due to the fact that it doesn't seem to be, because Tomura Shigaraki has been commenting about how he doesn't feel like he's Tomura Shigaraki, and it seems like he's becoming this new being. This might explain why he's Stars and Stripes command isn't working on him. Though, like Luckychi said earlier, the technicality could be he still might be Tomura Shizume or something. Was that the name of Tomura Shigaraki originally had?
Tenko Shimura.
Yeah.
Tenko Shimura, sorry. So whether or not that means that technically she has to say the name he's given with birth or not, it remains to be seen, I guess.
I know we talked about it earlier, but that's very Death Note-esque, technically.
I guess, though, granted, we never know if, code names, play into it, because, as we know, heroes and villains both have real names and code names. Biggest example for the villain side, Toya, Darby and Toya Todoroki and all that stuff. Sorry. I don't know why it took me so long to pronounce that.
Well, it's like this, again, bringing up another Death Note comparison. It's like you have L, but L's not the guy's real name, so it's like, huh.
I guess, but for all we know, this new order rule quirk thing, it hasn't really made it specifically if it has to be the birth name or a code name to work on it. And granted, if we see a villain, if we see Tomura Shigaraki steal this quirk, you can always try and do what, Stars and Stripes is trying to do with him, though he could say, if Deku moves, he dies and stuff, and we have to figure out whether or not if Deku can move or not with that command and all that stuff. Or if it has to be called Midoriya Zuku. Yeah. Anyway, I do like it. But I do like we end up seeing a bit more of Tomura Shigaraki's constant frustration of hearing the name All Might and his influence everywhere in this chapter.
Well, that's consistent with his character.
Yeah. It's been a while since we've seen Tomura Shigaraki go on about his hatred of All Might, since probably hideout raid arc, really.
Yeah, sense.
Where he was like, "I hate you!" straight to his face.
Yep.
So we got that. So Luckychi, you believe this chapter, Tomura Shigaraki is trying to break free from all for one, and he looks like he's starting to regain control.
It seems like it, but here's another thing. I know if we're looking at it, because I didn't think about this until somebody brought it up in a discussion thread somewhere. But someone said, well, what if this new being we get of Shigaraki is where he starts kind of accepting himself to be, what is he? Okay, not be himself, obviously, but like refer to him as like by his true name, which is Tenko.
Yeah, I feel like that won't happen until like Midoriya tries to save him or something. That's it. That's the only way I can see it, but I could be wrong. But yeah. But what do you think, Mangareader? What do you make of let's see? You think Tomura Shigaraki is becoming an entirely new person, or you think he'll be trying to reclaim his own name and all that stuff?
I don't know. I mean, the struggle there is apparently to the point where even if he absorbs, I don't know, this could be like the Dragon Ball reference where Piccolo kind of was Piccolo, but not Piccolo at the same time once he fused with Nail and eventually Kami too.
With Kami, yeah. It could be bad. Yeah.
Where he's technically Shigaraki, but at the same time, he really isn't. So I could see that maybe playing out to be something like that. Otherwise, I can't imagine All for One is going to just be in control of this body at all time. But
and you have his real body at the same time, yeah. Well, it also kind of brings up one of you build up Shigaraki, and if you only build him up just for him to just take it away, it'd be a little really,
All right.
Be that.
Well, from the very least, let's see, Tomura Shigaraki's role in this part of the story seems to be battling for dominance for his own body at the very least. In many ways, a mix of both the Sith teachings of either the master or the student becomes, the dominant being, or in a case, perhaps maybe a bit of a certain manga's reference, of body possession, but who knows? But anyway, so we got a bit. So anyway, for the end of the chapter, we saw Tomura Shigaraki's childhood house. So does that really? You think we're getting a bit more flashbacks to that house, or do you think it's just or do you think everything that needs to be said has been told there?
I think it's just thrown there for the hell of it, but there's nothing really more to. Especially since they're saying the fight concludes in the next chapter.
Let's see, as the next climax.
We're gonna get more on the flashback. Maybe you could say you get more of Shigaraki's thoughts on it, but then again, that'd kind of be a little redundant considering that he kind of thought about that during the Metal Liberation Army arc, so it's kind of 50-50.
But anyway, so Mangareader was saying that chapter. Let's see. Apparently, the next chapter is the climax of this fight. So, do you think that's the case, or do you think we'll get one extra chapter?
I don't know. I think maybe we'll get one extra chapter. I think maybe two, if we're to stretch it.
But yeah. Fair enough, but yeah. I definitely say, it definitely feels like it's a bit quick for this fight to end just as it's starting and that stuff. Not to mention, we have to wait and see whether or not Endeavor, Hawks, or let's see, BS Genus will arrive on the scene to help with the Stars and Stripes in the fight or not. But yeah, it still remains to be clear on whether or not Stars and Stripes will end up losing her quirk or not, because we do know that Shigaraki is also now interested after seeing in action and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if we're to be technical, I mean, we are only in the second chapter of this current arc.
And technically the beginning of the second arc of the new saga and all that stuff. But yeah. The second arc of the new saga. Second chapter of the second arc of the third saga, but yeah. But anyway.
Final saga. Be more specific.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but yeah.
Are you aware?
But yeah, anyway, let's see, I'm trying to remember what I was about to say. But yeah, we do know that All For One says that, let's see, whether or not this quirk is stolen or not will determine the tide of how this war he's planning against the heroes will take place. So we have yet to wait and see. But anyway, let's see. But I do find it interesting that apparently All For One predicts that the merger between him and Shigaraki appears to be at like 97 to 98% and all that stuff. Now, granted, it seems like Shigaraki's hatred and craving for destruction has exceeded both his and the Doctor's expectations, which he is happy about. So there's that. So yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. So at the moment, he's not quite. He's very close to completion. So who knows whether or not he'll be fully completed by then. But yeah. So anyway, since we're reaching the climax of this chapter, does this make you think that this current arc is going to be a long one or a short one for My Hero?
I mean. Okay, even the last arc technically wasn't super long since it was only just around 20 chapters.
Okay, then should I rephrase it as long, short, or standard for My Hero Academia?
It could be standard length. I think what we'll probably get is it'll probably be around the same length as the Pro Hero arc or the Endeavor Agency arc. So relatively in total, I'm thinking maybe like 10, 12 chapters at the max.
Note to self, Endeavor, always get arcs focusing on Endeavor, or Pro Heroes, if you will, always ends up in 10 chapters.
Well, okay,
I'm making a joke.
Okay, let's be fair. The Culture Festival arc was also 15 chapters too, so it's not just that one.
Yeah, I know, I'm just making a joke.
So yeah, and I was gonna say this technically. Okay, besides the Paranormal Liberation War, the arcs that do involve Shigaraki are usually like 15 to 20-ish chapters.
Fair enough. So what about you, Mangareader? How many more chapters do you think this arc will last for? You think it's going to be a long, short, or standard for My Hero?
I'll say standard for now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
So So anyway, who do you hope to win this fight? Out of curiosity, Mangareader, between Stars and Stripes and Tomura Shigaraki.
I think either of them winning kind of is a losing effort altogether. You either introduce Stars and Stripes only to have her fail miserably for the sake of the plot. For the sake of the plot, otherwise, if you have Stars and Stripes win and Shigaraki either escapes or doesn't really accomplish much of anything, then it just kind of throws off the balance of how much of a villain he can be.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mentioned to Blue last week when we talked about 329. I was thinking, well, you're kind of stuck either way depending on whoever wins.
So I take it you're hoping it's going to be some kind of stalemate. Then I take it where neither wins but neither loses.
I'd like for that to happen, but I don't see how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just have to see whether or not.
The only way I could think of anything happening now is if Stars and Stripes somehow can escape without really losing any of her power. Like maybe she uses her power to prevent her power from being stolen. But yeah, I don't see how much of anything's gonna go in her favor since villain is transforming.
Fair enough. But I guess you could also fair enough. But I can, as I also was saying, that you could also probably have somehow Hawks, Endeavor, and Genus to come to the rescue and that stuff.
I suppose it could make it, yeah, but I don't know what they're gonna offer since they couldn't even beat him when he was at his 20% or some crap like that, 70%,
give or take, yeah.
I think it was 40% or something. But anyway.
Some low ass number.
But anyway, but then again, it could be like a similar situation when the Bunny Girl arrived to help with the Endeavor and Hawks against Darby. But anyway, I saw that stuff. But yeah. So, any more thoughts, or Gritty, or do you want to talk a bit more about how this ties in directly to Two Heroes and all that stuff, or have you had everything you need to say about that?
Well, regarding Two Heroes, it's only kind of just the opening scene.
So yeah,
It's not like it was an essential key tie into Two Heroes, but it's a nice bit of connective tissue, if you will.
Fair enough. So not quite just on the scale that probably would be absolutely tie into the movie. I suppose the female character that Oma, it's honorary niece, I guess you could say, the quirkless inventor, if you will. I guess if she made it, granted she's appeared in the Team Ups manga, but not in the main.
I mean, if you had it to where, say, Melissa and Dave were in one of the jets, maybe, but even then.
But fair enough. But yeah. So but yeah. But this definitely has gave many people who are fans of Two Heroes a bit of sense of validation, saying, "See, I knew this movie was canon."
Well, I mean, he finds ways to always get movies in there, so it's gonna happen eventually.
It does.
Not to mention, when the chapter when Stars and Stripes first appeared, there are two other heroes that were also in the upcoming movie, which will be released at the end of this month and all that stuff in English, translated countries.
Yep, essentially next weekend.
Let's see. Halloween, everyone.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did you want to go see scary movies? Go watch My Hero Academia instead.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people will probably tune in for Carnage for Halloween. I think, but
well, it's already made at least $200 million at the box office, from what I've seen.
Yay! It's doing good numbers.
So it's at least made twice its budget, from what I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so overall, guys, what would you give this chapter a score rating of?
Well, there is some. I'm gonna kind of mention what, and I know James hasn't been on any of these stream discussions we've done, but I'm gonna echo what he said. Is there is some rumblings in the future where this could go south, future sense for the story, or there's a backdoor option because there's always a backdoor somewhere, and it could just be okay. It's something to worry about, but we're good. It's kind of in that scenario, at least with the whole New Order quirk situation.
Well, let's see. Koei did manage to eventually calm people down with the 6 quirks, I think. Or at least, well, you calm down at least.
Hey, I'm just saying, I had the right to be worried about that at one point. So, I guess it all depends on how we take the story at this point. But I'll say this. Overall, the chapter, because it's a battle chapter, per se, it's it's pretty good for what it is. I'll give it the great rating. It's a great rating. The lowest I could give it is say good plus. Is where I'd be at.
Yeah, I have to admit, it's not every day when you get a full-on battle chapter with My Hero Academia. Though granted, I suppose the last few arcs did have pretty much ritzy full-on battle chapters. But
I mean, you had Deku versus Class when they went. Yeah, arguably that was short too, but.
And there was also like ritzy against Lady Nugget and Muscular, and then there's like the Walk. That had quite a lot of action chapters.
For anyone saying we're not going to see her again, mark my words, we're going to see her again.
Fair enough.
Before the series ends, I'm positive.
So yeah, for me, I definitely say this is probably like an 8 to 8.5 out of 10. I like the small reference we got to the movie, and we found out, Stars and Stripes backstory of All Might. She ended up being the girl he saved at the beginning of the movie. During flashback phase, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We end up finally getting confirmation, so we end up learning she's more of a spiritual, that All Might's more of a spiritual mentor to her, but she still has a great depth to him regardless. We end up seeing a bit more of her personality with like how she tries to eliminate villains quickly, and Ritzy promising to like make sure at least that there are some remains left for her like pilots. And if they do end up dying, for their families and all that stuff. I do like that we finally get an idea about, what her quirk is, new order, that allows her to set a certain set of rules to people she touches, a maximum of 2, first herself, then, with like super strength, allowing her to be called the strongest woman, and then for whatever she's touching when she's fighting another opponent and all that stuff, and what command she needs to do to counter them and all that stuff. So, yeah. We can now see why All for One wants this quirk and feels like this will turn the tide against like heroes and all that stuff. I also like how we get a bit more into like Tomura Shigaraki's insight kind of status about ever since All for One tried to merge with him. It seems that they're close to being completed as a perfect being, and it looks like All for One and him are about to try and conquer inside him. Look like they're trying to become this new being that looks like Tomura Shigaraki is resisting. Whether or not he becomes his own, let's see, if he continues to be Tomura Shigaraki or who he was before Tomura Shigaraki or this entirely new being, remains to be seen in these next few chapters, but yeah. But I do like, I think this chapter is pretty good for Fight 1, and let's see, it'll be very interesting to see the next one. So what about you, Mangareader? What do you think?
What about me for what? What about me for what?
What are your overall thoughts? I mean, I have invited you here, so
I know.
Your thoughts.
That's what have my thoughts. I don't know. We're getting borderline insane now in terms of what quirks could potentially be coming forward. I mean, if this is Stars and Stripes' ability, I'm absolutely crazy. I don't know if I want to see anyone else's powers beyond this, because it's just going to get more ludicrous, almost likely. Especially if Tomura steals them.
Well, to be fair, she is regarded as the world's strongest woman, so that at the very least, in terms of females, we're probably not going to get any stronger quirk than this.
I mean, keep in mind, people were super, super concerned about Aerie when her quirk was revealed. Like, that's nothing compared to this.
Aerie's quirk is at least in the hands of a child.
Yeah. At least.
At least in the hands of a child. But, if Tomura gets said abilities, I am confused as to what Deku will be capable of doing. Meaning, one of those last 2 remaining hidden quirks is gonna have to be insane.
Yeah. So far, each of the 6 quirks have been more or less like supportish, secondary quirks, if you will. So if we get something like that's a counteractive measure to it, it'd be a bit of a concern. But I guess it all depends on how this fight goes down. That's the big thing. Like, the outcome of this fight's going to be, I think, the ultimate deciding factor as to what happens moving forward, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, more on your thoughts, Mangareader. What do you make of the Tomura Shigaraki stuff?
I mean, I guess it makes sense because,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Shigaraki was struggling originally anyway, and again, if One for All was going to be the villain in the first place, there was no point in introducing Shigaraki into the story at all. So clearly something's going on with this.
So, how would you overall grade this chapter? Then I take it.
Guess an 8 out of 10.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So we're all around the same range.
Yeah, we're all around. This is like it's an 8 out of 10 to 8.5 out of 10, depending on who you're asking, all that stuff. So yeah. So anyway, I guess that's everything we need to cover for this chapter. Let's see. Granted, I would say let's see. We know My Hero is on a break next week. So this week. So we'll not be until like around the time of Halloween. Do we get like the conclusion? Let's see the possible climax of this fight, and we will ever find out whether or not worries are confirmed. Who wins or loses? Does something surprising happen? But yeah, overall, it was a pretty fun fighting chapter, and we finally got an insight to like who Stars and Stripes is. Though whether or not we'll see any more of her afterwards now remains to be seen. Or what exactly is going to happen to Tomura Shigaraki during this fight. But yeah.
You can pull through. I believe in you.
That's
all I'm going to say.
Well, we are. Yeah. Well, at least we know what side Luckychi is on when it comes in terms of villains, at least.
Hey, I'm as objective about this as I possibly can.
No, it's okay, Luckychi. I know that Tomura Shigaraki is your boy. But yeah. So anyway, I think we've covered everything.
Well, okay, like I said, it doesn't matter who wins or loses because you're going to be in a lose-lose situation regardless. So, it's a big thing.
Well, again, who knows? We'll just have to see how the fandom reacts and all that stuff. So yeah. Let's see, but yeah, I can see this. But I could see this still being a tie-in or at the end of the day, or stalemate. But no, so we'll find out who's right in 2 weeks' time. So anyway, Luckychi, Margarita, thank you for joining me. Yep. Let's see, I'm Blue Star Saber.
I'm Mangareader.
I'm Luckychi.
And let's see, and we are probably now signing out unless any of you have anything more left to say.
No.
Nope, but I think we're good.
But yeah. And that'll be it, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Let's see you next time. Plus Ultra.
Plus Ultra.
Plus Ultra.
And goodbye.
Plus.